Hey everybody, it's me Edward Jones back in a new video. For others, slaveholding. Had a good day. Had a good day today. So it was pretty productive. I went ahead and bought some more ammo. It's a aluminum case 45 auto, and got a dozen donuts for Krispy Kreme assorted. So I guess I was pretty productive today. Was on where I looked for truck parts. But I figured, the time I had, I think I'd do this video. This is pretty much a follow up after the video I did last year, called "For Some Slavery," in which I talked about how there was something that Clive Bundy said about how he was looking at, he made an observation about how the black family has deteriorated, after, after slavery. Though it happened, I would say it happened. It began to happen during the '60s, but after slavery, there was still a family unit. But and he was saying basically that they seem to fare better under those conditions as opposed to, how things are now. I believe a lot of the conditions that were put forth, and I'm not necessarily talking about racism, but I mean, so-called progressive policies have taken a big part in the destruction of, the black family, and I would say the deterioration of black culture. And that was just me saying, if you look at just the path that black culture has taken, and not even black culture, but just some people that you may observe around your day to day life, they seem like they would fare better if, if they were under the subjugation of slavery. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I wouldn't want that to happen to anybody. But some people just don't. They don't make it. They don't make things better for themselves. They can't. Either they can't, or they refuse to take care of themselves, and then put themselves in a position where someone's basically going to want to take care of them. And I use the example of society falling apart. There are those who would either, they will use what skills they have to try to, I guess whatever, somewhat complex skills they have to try to make things better for themselves and from in their own, like their family and friends. And there's some where really have no way of taking care of themselves, and so they put themselves in a position where they just about have to be, I guess, bondsmen. They have to sell themselves, um, into doing jobs that are, I'd say, doing things that are very demeaning, things that are, I would say, even say subhuman. But with that being, but when I made that video, I thought about a lot of things. Well, I thought about a lot of people that I encounter. Some people I know personally. Some of the things I read online. A lot of things I watch on videos, and I've actually come to this conclusion that as much as I say that there are people, in the same, one end I say that there are people who will put themselves in the position of being slaves. I believe there are, I believe there are a lot of people who, if they could get away with it, they would own slaves themselves. Now, I guess that could be, maybe by asking yourself, what is he talking about? People, who in the right mind wants to own a slave? You'd be surprised. Well, I don't know. Maybe might not be surprised if you think about, uh, just basically observe how some people view others around them. If they view them as cattle, as basically a means to get from X to Y, simply as that, and not as human beings. Um, I believe they can fall into that. They can begin to fall into that slippery slope. If the conditions are set, if the right conditions are set before them. Um, and I don't think it's. I don't believe it's too far fetched. If you, let's say, for example, and this is a kind of I don't know if it's really a test. I don't know if it's really a concrete way of determining what kind of people would do that kind of thing. But there's an example that I came up with, which I had conversations with some people, and it deals with, I guess, kind of deals with it deals with public money. And let's say that you have a library, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people would agree that a library is a public good. It's something that can, is good for those who are who seek knowledge. It's good for those who maybe who use libraries to seek employment. For those who can't afford internet. But let's say that there is a means of providing all those services, but through voluntary action. By voluntary action, I mean people donate. People donate. For instance, um, I once donated to our local library in my county, and I figured if it's something that can help somebody, maybe it wouldn't hurt for me to give just a little bit, right? Just a little bit of what I have to help support it. It wasn't much, I think it was like maybe $10, but it was something. It was something I could tell myself, I could have spent that $10 on something else. I could have spent it on meat, or could have spent it on some light target loads for my shotguns. I could have spent it on a cheap hat, But I decided to give part of my money to this because I believe it was something that maybe it may help someone who's in a harder spot than I'm in. And I did that voluntarily. I did it through charity. Now, let's say that you present this idea to someone and saying that, listen, we don't need to use public money. We don't need to use taxes in order to provide for this service, in order to provide this good, which is supposed to be good, supposedly good for those who are less fortunate. Well, I think if they say no, we can't. No, if they outright reject the idea, and not even necessarily because it's unfeasible, but just reject the idea because they don't believe people would actually do it. They don't believe people would donate. I think that's projection. I think they're saying that them themselves wouldn't donate to this cause. They wouldn't donate to a library, but they can't come to terms with it because they understand how they recognize it as being selfish, whether subconsciously, unsubconsciously, or consciously or subconsciously. So, and unable to come to the truth with themselves as actually seeing a part of themselves as being pretty selfish towards something that should be noble to help other people. They project that onto other people and say, no, other people won't donate. They won't give up. They won't give up themselves. So we need to force people, i.e., taxes. We need to force people to give up what they have to provide for the service. I believe that people who think like that, they may one day find. I think if the conditions were set straight before them, they would own slaves. For one, like I said, they don't trust that people will do things out of the goodness of their heart. And like I said, I think it's just from projection. They themselves probably wouldn't do the same things out of the goodness of their heart or whatever goodness is there, and so they project it on other people and say that those people are greedy and selfish and they need to be taught a lesson. They need to have part of this stuff taken from them in order to provide for those who don't have it. That's that's using force to try to provide a good that can be negotiated with or provided through charity. Um, and there are people like that, whether it be, whether it be even I even bring up the matter of child support. Me personally, like I said, I mentioned before that my father was, he was out of the picture, and because of his condition, because of what he was involved in, I'm actually glad, no money was going to be squeezed out of him. And yes, I did say squeeze out of, because I truly believe that if someone doesn't want to be involved in a kid's life, probably it's best force them to be a part of it. Whether it be physically present or financially supportive. I'd say that they should face public shame for doing so, but using force to get money out of them to do their duty, I think it's a bit counterproductive. I think it also can be a bit damaging to the child for them to have an understanding as to how to take care of a child. Should force be used to get money out of this person? And like I said, I think that is a form of slavery where you're not really negotiating with the parent to take care of their child. Instead, you're going to use force through courts and the police in order to force this person to take care of a child. Now, you may say that's a bit far fetched, but like I said, if you basically just look at the trend. Someone doesn't trust another person to do what's right. They don't trust them to either donate their time, their energy, their money, their property to take care of other people. They don't trust that people who have things will even sell at a reasonable price to those who may not be able to afford it. So what do they recommend? They recommend that they be forced to give up what they have to redistribute it. And I'm pretty sure that if done long enough and done as things increase gradually, it will start to look like you have slavery on your hands. Somebody say that today we have. Somebody say that we have that today, which and I think that's an argument that can be discussed. Um, so it's like I said, there and I've asked a few friends, have they some coworkers, you know, do they think there are people nowadays that were owned slaves? And they said, yeah, they believe so. And they said that, because if you look at just the way people will go about acquiring things, how they want things done for them, if they can get away with having someone forced to do it for them, they would. Uh, Case in point, and it's crazy. This is pretty recent. I see it this way when you have someone who doesn't want someone who owns an establishment, let's say a baker, and they don't want to serve to a particular customer because they may not agree with their lifestyle or they may not agree with what they're wearing or how they conduct themselves. Now, instead of leaving and finding someone else to do business with, they complain to the state, by lawsuits, and or they fight for legislation to be passed. They try to force this person who wants to do square business with whoever he feels like doing it with. He's forced to do it with everyone. They're basically saying you can't pick and choose you can't rightfully pick and choose who you do business with. You have to do business with everyone who comes before you or else. Um, and I think that sows the seeds for for slavery down the road, where a person can't choose who they decide to work for. They're forced to provide service or provide a good for a particular group, supposedly because that group is disenfranchised or not disenfranchised, just offended or just maybe butthurt, um, or their feelings were hurt or it wasn't PC to reject them. Me personally, if someone didn't want to uh, let's say someone didn't want to help me change the transmission of my truck, I'll go somewhere else, or I'll do it myself. And I guess I get other like-minded people who agree with what I'm doing and who agree with me to help me along the mission. Help me along the task. I'm not going to go and complain and say, "Oh, this person discriminated me because I'm black or because they don't like cowboy hats." Wink, wink. um, so I'm going to complain to have some guys with guns and this whole institution to straighten this out because my feelings were hurt. Come on, we can do better than I believe we can do better than that. If someone doesn't want to serve you, go somewhere else. That's the best thing you can do. Or present a good enough argument to that person to convince them why it's a good idea to serve you. But don't just fall out the blue want to tattletale and have force being used by someone else on your behalf to settle scores, so to speak. And I think those same people, if like I said, the conditions were right, they were own slaves. If they were forced people now in our supposed civilized society to do things. Imagine what they'll do if let's say things are starting to fall apart, or if things became scarce, if things became desperate. Would they push people to into bondage? Probably. You know, Me, I wouldn't want to see anybody pushed into bondage, and I wouldn't want to see anybody pushing someone into bondage. Because I wouldn't want to do it to someone else, and I wouldn't want anybody doing it to me. And that's how I try to go about my life. Um, if I can do it on my own, cool. If I can do it with someone else's help, cool. If I can convince someone through a sound and logical argument and a compassionate argument why they should help me or someone else, then I'll do it. But using force, just because someone doesn't like you and they just flat out refuse, I think it's a slippery slope. You know. But please tell me what you think. Do you agree with what I agree with with the argument I put forth, or do you know people who you pretty much observe them well enough to figure this person had a chance they would own slaves. I can see them having a plantation right now, or I can see them having a mine full of people with pickaxes and shackles around their ankles. But please share your thoughts. I'll be happy to hear what you have to say. Post a video response. If you disagree, please let me know. I'll consider your points. You know, maybe I may bring it up in a future video, or even do it. You know, create a, like I say, create a counter argument to what I just stated, or play devil's advocate. But that's my video. Hope you, for those of you who are new to my channel, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed the videos I made in the past. I hope you look forward to videos to come. I want to give a big thank you to my subscribers. The channel is steadily growing, steadily climbing uphill, kind of like my truck in first gear or in low gear of a really steep hill. I've used that example because I actually just tackled the steep hill today, going from first, second, then down to first, and then got over the hill. But that's my video. For others slaveholding, I'm Edward Jones. Thanks for watching.